Welcome to the Image Pro Premiere 9.1 launch webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be beginning our presentation right now. We're very pleased to have a few moments of your time today to show you the latest in image analysis technology. My name is Nick Beavers, and today I'm joined by my colleague Jeff Knipe. Media Cybernetics has been at the forefront of innovation for over 30 years. And today we bring you the latest iteration of our flagship product, Image Pro. You may have heard of this product in the past by many names such as Image Pro Plus, Analyzer, Express, or Insight. And today we talk to you about our latest Image Pro Premiere software, which is the upgrade version for all of these products. In the Image Pro Premiere software, we bring you a brand new platform that has a significant amount of innovation right inside of this platform that you don't even see sometimes. It has an all-new 64-bit architecture. We also offer the 32-bit available on all DVDs that ship with this product, but today I want to talk to you about the 64-bit architecture and some of the benefits that it may bring you. Overall, we see faster processing because of this architecture. We see the ability to handle larger images, longer time lapses, and in general, with these images, set up batch processing routines where we can run through folders and folders full of data and create massive amounts of results simply right within this product. With some of the new advances we see here, we don't have to do as much with other products. There's not as much export and import to work with. At the same time, we're able to then download the latest and greatest versions when they do become available. We now have auto updates baked right inside the product. If you have an internet connection, you can simply look for these updates or even have the option selected to notify you when an option upgrade is available. Just to give you an idea of some of the improvements that we can see with this new 64-bit architecture, here's a simple graph to show you that the time it takes to count 1.1 million objects in a single image on a 4-core Intel processor holding 48 gigabytes of RAM. Typically, in our 32-bit Image Pro Plus 7 products, this would have taken around 15 minutes to complete. In our brand new 64-bit Image Pro Premiere 9 software platform, the benefits of the platform make it so that it only takes 1 minute to complete this count. That's a significant improvement from our previous versions to today's version. And all this is made possible by our brand new platform. In addition to this, you can see some other improvements, such as the type of image size based upon one of the multiple ways of supporting large images that we are now tackling. In the example on the left-hand side, you see a simple TIFF image that's supported in our 64-bit Premiere version 9. Again, we're using the same 4-core Intel processor with the 48 gigabytes of RAM. We're using our latest Image Pro Premiere 9, and we're able to easily open a 4 gigabyte image that fits into RAM, and it's just a simple TIFF file. However, on the same machine, we're then able to open a 20 gigabyte image simply and easily by using our brand new VLI image formats. We have a few more of those to talk to you today about, but at the moment we're easily supporting the objective imaging file formats and the Apereo file formats. These innovative new file formats have made a difference for all of us. You're allowed to open these images, you can crop out sections, you can navigate quickly and easily, and it's all made possible by a pyramidal file format that allows you to look at a thumbnail version of the larger image when you're zoomed all the way out, and it allows you to look at the high-resolution version of that exact same image when you zoom all the way in. This new VLI image format is available in Image Pro Premiere, and that brand new platform in version 9.0, we had 2 image files supported, and now we're going to bring some more of those today. Other improvements that are just very general improvements for this new platform, the 64-bit architecture, when we made this upgrade, we were able to add user-friendly interface on top of it. We were able to make sure that you had beautiful annotations and measurements when you created them, that when we did our thresholding and segmentation, we decided to make it even smarter by adding our brand new Smart Segmentation option. There are interactive data tables that allow you to see the correlation between the data in the table, objects on the histogram, and the objects themselves that are outlined in your image. If you'd like, you're able to record many of the routines that you run through. And with this, we've created a graphical macro editing capability. No longer do you need to be a programmer to easily record and create custom applications for yourself, but now you can do drag and drop editing, and you can even see how your macro has recorded very visually after you've finished. With this brand new platform, we've worked very hard to ensure that we continue to support many of our hardware partners. In ImagePro products, for years, we've been supporting Qimaging cameras and Luminera cameras. We've had a large number of supported cameras that were written through our software development kits, and we've partnered with a number of companies to continue that support for our latest versions. You'll see companies ranging from Qimaging to Luminera, Modic, which is a brand new driver we've recently supported. Allied Vision Technology has many of their cameras supported. The Photometrics camera line, a brand new HD camera from Dage MTI, Leica Microsystems, DFI cameras, and we also see Olympus with some new support for their cameras as well. So we're very excited about all of our hardware partners. If you're interested in the full list, you can simply go to www.mediasci.com, look under our support options, and look at capture interfaces, and you'll see all of the available capture interfaces there. One thing about Media Cybernetics is we want to make sure we provide you with excellent support, and we're always providing you with all the necessary resources to get the job done. All of these capture drivers are free of charge. We won't charge you anything extra for as many cameras as you need to support. Now today we want to walk you through some of the brand new features of our latest product, and we're really excited to talk to you about ImagePro Premiere version 9.1. Today is our official announced date of this product, and throughout the week we'll be rolling out all kinds of great information, and we want to start today by just showing you a few demos of this product. Before we get started, I want to let you know that the support for this product ranges from Windows XP 32-bit to Windows 7, both 32 and 64, and new to version 9.1, we're launching it with Windows 8 compatibility for both 32 and 64-bit versions. We're very excited about this support, and we know that this large range of support is going to help many of our customers be able to easily support the product across all the different computers they have in their labs and in their research facilities. So to kick off some of the new features and talk about what we have here today, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Jeff Knight, and pass control over to him so he can begin to show us how ImagePro Premiere 9.1 can make some changes for all of us in our workflow, improve how we do things, and get us some really incredible innovations. Thank you, Jeff. I'm going to go ahead and pass control over to you.
Okay, thank you, Nick. As Nick mentioned, there's quite a number of new features that we've added to Premiere 9.1. Let me hit on one of the most important ones, smart segmentation. If you're a current user of ImagePro Premiere, you may have used this feature for segmentation. This is actually a very advanced segmentation feature, but it makes it really easy to segment a wide variety of samples by using smart segmentation or pixel classification. And what we've added are two new features. And I'll go into ImagePro Premiere to show you. I'm in count size, and I'm going to select Smart. I'm just going to reset everything back to its native state. And what I'm going to show is a tiny bit about how to use smart segmentation, but more importantly, smart segmentation, how we expanded in 9.1, allows us to build a recipe, or really a segmentation methodology based upon not just a single image but multiple images. And the reason for that is not one image many times does not have the range of sample or objects or cells or nuclei or voids or whatever you're analyzing. And so now we can train it to build the recipe off of multiple images, and that's really important. So what I'm going to do is just go through a quick setup of that. This is smart segmentation. We've also reorganized smart segmentation 9.1 to make it a little more step-by-step to follow through here. I'm going to set all of my parameters here. And this is just showing me that I'm going to use all the different color channels, backgrounds, and morphological elements or texture. So what I'm going to do is, and how we do this is, I'm going to find a reference object. I'm going to simply add another class, and I can name the class. I'm just going to select right here. I can select more than one, and then I'm going to define a background. And as soon as I define a background, that is automatically going to start off the smart segmentation process. I can then refine this a little bit Just going to clean up the background a little bit, and we'll just select right there. So at this point, and what you can normally do with smart segmentation is I could count based upon how I have count size set up, and I can also save the recipe. What this is showing me here is all of those parameters and the weighting that's applied. We can make some adjustments, and it's telling me how many reference objects I've set and how many classes. But what's important now is if I want to go out and refine this, and I do one more little revision here, clean up a little more. If I want to go out and refine this a bit, where again I have maybe some particular range or class of objects that haven't shown up in a particular image, I can now go out and refine my recipe. So what I want to do is I'm going to set global, and now I can go to another image and apply global. And what that will do is apply that segmentation recipe to this image. At this point now, I can go out and refine it, which is something that we could not do before, by simply start either selecting from the same class, or I can add more classes. And I can start updating that recipe, and that will change the auto weighting. You can see here it's telling me how many reference objects I'm showing, how many currently on available. We've also added a recipe summary to show you what those range of settings are if you want to go in and do some more sophisticated types of manipulations. At this point, if I'm happy, I can save my recipe, which is something you'll normally want to do if you're going to be using this recipe over and over again in smart segmentation. You can always reopen this and apply it to more images or apply it in batch processing, but also you can come back and refine it at a later time if you have the basics down, but your dye lot's changed a little bit or maybe conditions have changed a little bit. Again, this will work for bright field, it will work for fluorescence imaging, monochrome and color. The other nice thing is, some people haven't, just to show this, is we can change the transparencies so you can actually see what is underlying the segmentation layer. We can turn it on and off, but when you count, you need to have the segmentation layer on. There's one other change that we've made to smart segmentation, and it's a new icon here called Custom. What Custom allows us to do, and I'll just show a quick example, we can add a new channel. What this is really meant for is for doing some image pre-processing. I'll give an example. If you're trying to measure objects within objects, for example, you have some type of structure. Actually, on these images, you can see where you have the structure, and you want to measure, in this case, nuclei around those structures, measuring the epithelial nuclei. What we can do is set up an image pre-processing step that smart segmentation will take into account so we can find those particular areas. You'll see some more of this coming out when we release some newer apps in version 9 that are 9.1 compatible a little bit later on here. But what this simply is, I can create multiple steps. I can add different types of inputs, channels, different channels from color images, add my captions. We can adjust those parameters. And again, I can build multiple steps. So if there's something that you normally need to do from an image pre-processing standpoint, I can now incorporate it into smart segmentation. There's another new feature that has broad implications, not only for, in this case, tissue staining, immunohistochemistry, digital pathology, but for a wide range of material and physical sciences, or for doing quality assurance. What learning classification is a slightly different way of looking at how you analyze and how you classify your objects of interest. Traditionally, you could do one or two things in ImagePro where you could use segmentation to create these different classes of objects, but in some cases, it was always hard trying to get those properly to line up. And what we can do now is, with learning classification, we find all of our objects of interest. In some cases, it's a lot easier to do that, and it's a lot more robust to find everything you want to measure. And then once you have those, we can build, using a training set, build a classification scheme where we can put it into different groups. For example, in digital pathology, it could be 0, +1, +2, +3. You could look at some type of materials that maybe have different textures. And by now using these multiple parameters, we can now classify those into these different groups. This is a much more accurate way than doing what was single variable class in ImagePro, where you could take a single parameter and do it, or auto classification, where you could not direct it. Here we're building a training set, so we can go out and classify all of our objects based upon these multiple parameters. So what I'm going to do is go through a little example showing some of the power of this. Going back to Image Pro Premiere. Let me just open it. These are a couple of images. This is KI67. These are staying nuclei. What I'm going to just do is I have a previously set segmentation options with segmentation and counting built into it. I'm just going to do a quick count to have all the outlines of my objects, my nuclei in this case. And I'll take another image just to have that ready. Where learning classification comes into is after you've already segmented, you've already counted all of your objects, but now we're going to classify them because I have the outlines. So let me just give that other one a quick count. Okay. So in this case, I have all the outlines. They've all been counted. But now I want to classify them. So here's how we do that. Under the classification group, or classify group, we have a new feature called learning. Simple workflow-oriented dialog. Again, we can save our settings or classification scheme once we have it set up. And again, I can now use multiple images to build this training set. Again, one image may not have all the types of classes or groups or types of objects you want to measure, so we can actually build the classification scheme off of multiple images. Here is where I'll add my classes. In classification measurements, these are coming in from count and size from the types. This is where we set what types of data do we want to keep track of. If you don't have something in here, you think that you should have some other parameters, again, working out the conditions, you can always add those in types. When you go into learning classification, they will show up here. And finally, we can calculate the classifiers and look at the weighting about what are the most important parameters. And then classify. Basically, what we're doing is we're building a training set and we're statistically separating out these different populations. So let me show you how this is done. I'm going to simply add a class. I can, there's a class nuclei, I can call nuclei or just negative. It's telling me my number of reference objects. I can change my colors here. I can set my reference objects, undo, or delete a particular class. So what I'm going to do is go out and I'm just going to select a few of these nuclei that are negative. I'm just going to select one. We put a prompt. Select a couple of negatives. Press OK. And then I'm going to go out and build my classification scheme. So I'm going to add another class. I'll just call it weak positive. Again, go through the same process. This is where I'm building my training set. Here I'm saying some things that have a weaker signal. If I make a mistake, I can always reselect it. And what you notice I don't have it zoomed up is you don't want to have the same object in both classes. It'll confuse the system. It'll make it a little bit harder to classify. And so what you want to do, or what we do, is put an broken outline around the objects once you select them. So just to give you a visual warning not to select that object again. I'm going to select my next group. And we'll go out holding the control key down, selecting some of my, here's a good one. So I have my categories, my groups. Now I'm going to say what measurement parameters. Starting off again, working out the conditions. I'm going to add all. Simply calculate my classifiers. You can see what are some of the more important parameters. In this case, the mean intensity blue channel. Green channel is fairly important, red. A few of these other ones really don't make that much of a difference. Again, if you have more parameters, you'll see the auto weighting. I can turn auto weighting off, and I can choose not to use certain parameters if you need to modify it a little bit. When I'm ready, I simply press OK. And now, based upon my training set, it's now classified all of my, in this case, nuclei based upon that scheme. If I show it filled, you'll see that. Again, with our new data tables in Image Pro Premiere, you can see how this is all set up. I can also group by classes, so I can count the number of nuclei in each group, so I can do my distribution analysis. If I want to use this scheme, my classifier, on another image, at this point, Again, I can save it if I want to use it again. I'm just going to build my training set, so I'm going to press Set Global and close this. Go to another image that I've counted. Going to go back into loading classification. Since this is now active, I'm going to load my global. You'll see it has loaded that classification scheme. At this point, I can go out and refine my classification. So if there's a couple more I want to add, if I had a new class, I can certainly add a new class. Press OK. If I want to add a couple more, I can certainly select those. This particular experiment, it's really counting the number of nuclei and getting some populations. There we go. So I'm happy with that. The important thing to do is recalculate, because what that will do is update the weighting, and then I can press OK, and then we'll do the classification. Again, just showing it filled, you can see that distribution. So this is a powerful new tool that we've added to Image Pro Premier for classifying your objects and doing those types of distribution or population analysis. Again, in materials, physical sciences, life sciences, a whole range of different applications can be used for this. A couple more features that we've added to Image Pro Premier. Colocalization. This is something that we had in Image Pro Plus. We've now greatly expanded the capability of in Image Pro Premier by not only having image-based colocalization, we can also do it per object-based. So in this particular example, you can see there are a number of labeled nuclei. Now we can go out and actually use the count size features and count those nuclei to define the boundaries of the nuclei and measure the colocalization of the different markers within there. We can also draw on objects or draw on areas. So if you want to measure whole cells or different structures with areas within the cytoplasm, we can also use our measurement tools to define those areas and measure colocalization within those areas. So let me just show a quick example of that. Right, I will go into colocalization, so I'm going to open one of our demo images. There's a folder called Colocalization. This is a multi-channel fluorescence image. So you can see by here, we have different channels. Just going to close that table for a second. To start colocalization, we simply go to the measure table. Here's our new colocalization group. And I'm going to select what channels do I want to do the analysis from. At this point, I'm going to not do the image-based colocalization. I'm going to do an object-based colocalization. So in this case, I'm going to select my two markers. Here I have my channel 3, my channel 4. And the key now is I'm going to select a parent image. In this case, it's channel 1. These are my host labeled nuclei. A couple of other updates here. Color pair, you can select what pairing you would like. Result type can be in color or frequency space. Thresholding is doing auto-bright segmentation, but we can also use a new one called Zero Pearsons. It's another way of doing segmentation based upon the data. At this point, I'm ready to start my colocalization. If I had individual images that they were not part of the set, I can also do that, and by selecting the right images for the different channels. I'm going to press Create. And you'll notice my parent image, by doing auto-segmentation, is highlighted. And you'll see where my colocalization areas, and just by simply adjusting the threshold, you can see, and adjust my colocalization, you can see the colocalization values. The key now is I want to set my parent objects, in this case my nuclei. So what I'm going to do is in the colocalization plot, I'm showing the segmentation layer. I'm going to press segmentation tool, so now I can adjust my segmentation. One important thing to note, and I'm just going to take this way to the extent, is if I use my count size settings, my types, and then apply ranges and filter out small objects, for example, if I have it set to, I'm going to set area, this is from something else, but I'm just going to set this, I'm just going to clear all these. I'm going to add an area. Colocalization parameters I'll show in a moment because they're going to be added automatically. But I can use these to filter out all this all this small, say, non-specific labeling, non-specific hybridization, those types of things, to filter all of that out. I'm just going to back that off a little bit, and I'll filter out all these other areas. When I'm happy with that, I'm simply going count. So what this now gives me, I have my areas, my parent objects, and now I'm going to add my measures. By adding my colocalization parameters for each of my parent objects, I will now get those values. I have filled outlines on, sorry. But as I adjust my segmentation, those values will change based upon only measuring within those parent objects, in this case the nuclei. I can do it another way. I'm just going to simply delete my objects. The other way of doing this is by using the manual measure tools. So here I can actually select, okay, I need to, sorry, let me take the filled off here. But this will allow me to manually define areas where I want to measure colocalization in. Again, if I was looking at whole cells, or if I was looking at different structures or within cytoplasm, I can now select and manually draw instead of using segmentation as another way of using quote-unquote object-based colocalization. Again, as I go to my colocalization plot here, I can adjust my thresholding. There's also another feature here that if you look online at our movies, you can also use ROIs to do that. All right, a couple of other features, wrapping this up here. We've also added where you can either split or merge segment or counted objects. So in this case, here's just a simple example. This is available in the Measure tab, the Measure ribbon. There's new features where we can, if you have things that have been split incorrectly, or it splits most of it, there's a few that you need to join up, we can now run a close or a merge that we can now join those objects. Again, there's the reverse of this where we can actually do some object splitting on this. Instead of having to do a manual split, we can do it automatically, and there's parameters to make this more automated. Here, this will work only on whatever objects that you select, again, coming from the Measure ribbon. There's also another option that we've added to Image Pro 9.1 is that we can shrink or grow, erode or dilate your selected objects. So if you have something that's only segmenting just a little bit off, or you need to take it a bit beyond the segmented areas, we can actually reach and grow our objects of interest. Again, by selecting all of them or selecting a particular few, we can now grow those. Again, we'll report out that data for the segmented area of that particular object. So we now can, again, grow or shrink counted objects based upon the needs of the experiment. We've also had a polygon nudge tool. Again, when you're doing these, you can actually go in now, manually adjust the outlines of the objects if you need to make a few manual adjustments. We've also added another great new feature in our measurements ribbon is incremental distances. This is where we're measuring thicknesses of, for example, different layers, thermal spray coatings, anything where you have some type of cladding. I want to show an example of this, but this is where we can actually go out. You can define the outlines of the different layers and then measure the thicknesses of those layers and get that statistical information. For example, the mean, max, min, standard deviation. So let me show a quick example of that. I'm going to open a different image that's appropriate for this. From our demo images, we have a new folder called Layer Thicknesses. It's going to do a simple one. I'm going to reset my types because I don't need all these colocalization values. I just really need a length. Again, remember in Image Pro Premiere, you need to know what parameters you want to keep track of. So what I'm going to do is, I could use auto trace or I could just manually draw it. I'm just going to do a simple polyline, and if I want to know the thickness of this, select the edges here and let's draw one more here. Again, if I make a mistake or I need to adjust it, I can always go in and select it. The key now is, in the relative group, I need to have some active lines. What I'm going to do is select those. Select one. I'm going to hold down the Control key. And you'll see that the relative group has a few icons that are now active. What I'm going to choose to measure the thickness of this layer is incremental distance. By using the side drop-down, step size is telling me how often do you want to sample. In this case, along those lines, how often do I want to create a sampling line? Here it would be every 3 pixels. I'm just going to make it a little bit larger for ease of visualization. I'm going to set it to 20. Types, you have some choice over how that distance is measured. Here I'm just going to do directional. And I'm going to press incremental distance to start the analysis. You can see how fast that is. And so what has happened is every 20 pixels along those lines, again using the directional, I can now get those thickness. L1 and L2 are the outside lines, and then I have all the lines and the thicknesses in between. Using the statistics table, I can actually calculate the min, mean, max, and standard deviation of those thicknesses to get the overall values. Again, this data can all be exported into Excel. You can show and hide if you need to hide these layers, or hide these lines defining the layer. We can remove those and just be left with all these measurement probes. And finally, I'm going to wrap up with a little bit about batch processing. We've updated the batch processing feature in Image Pro Premiere to make it more workflow oriented, a little bit clearer, and we've also had a few special features to this. So in Image Pro Premiere 9.1, now I'm just going to go to the Automate tab. This is where we do our macro writing and recording of macros. It's now been renamed to the Project Workbench because we've expanded the capability. But the key thing I want to show here is batch processing. It now has its own panel. It's really a step-by-step process of setting it up to do batch processing. Batch processing is based upon macros. And what happens now is by simply selecting it, automatically goes to the Macro Explorer. I can look at all the different macros and projects I have. At this point, I can select those macros. I have basically 3 macros for a particular project, measuring a whole series of images, but all you need to do is simply select those. So area, and then finally add some cleanup. I'm using data collector in this one. Once you have that set, tell you what macros to do. Loop on is what to do to each image in your set of images that you're going to analyze. From here, we just need to simply select the images. I can select images from the image strip. And I can select those if I activate this, or I can browse to a folder. And by simply doing that, I can select any folder of images I have. When I press OK, it'll bring that folder in. At this point, I'm all set up to do my batch processing on this set of images within a folder. We have a few controls over start batch processing. These are all the same except for the last one, which I'll explain in a second. Here I'm just going to show the task manager so I can monitor my progress. I'm going to display the images if I want to see how it's progressing and how well it's doing the segmentation and doing the data analysis. And I'm going to close each set of images as they're done before it goes on to the next image in the folder. All I have to do is simply press Start. We've also added a new feature called Monitor Folders. What this allows me to do is set up a batch process, and we're going to monitor a folder. So if it's on the network that you have a acquisition station set up and you're putting the images to a network, by Monitor Folder Set, and we point to that folder and select images, what that allows us to do is automatically start the batch processing as those images hit that folder. So we've greatly expanded the capability and the ease of use of batch processing with Image Pro Premiere 9.1. We've also added some new file formats. As Nick had mentioned earlier, we're supporting the Imperio file format, but we've also expanded number of slide scanners that we support their image files. So we've expanded to add the Hamamatsu Nano Zoomer files. They have a number of different extensions. So again, this is a pyramid TIFF that we can open up as a very large image and do manual measurements off of, or extract and do count size on different regions. We're also supporting the Leica.scn file from their newer slide scanners. Additionally, we're supporting the newer Zeiss file format, the CZI. So now we can open up those multi-channel images directly into Image Pro Premiere, select those, and do analysis off of those. At this point, I'm going to pass this back over to Nick to show a few more features.
Thank you, Jeff. Now what we want to talk about is a few additional features that are not specifically features that will be perfect for an individual, but more really catered to the entire group of users for Image Pro. I wanted to make sure that just in general, from version 9.0 to 9.1, there were significant improvements, that people noticed a difference in the software that they're upgrading to, and that there were improvements that made everyone's life a little bit easier and made it easier to customize the software for your needs. One of those new features is actually going to be the camera configuration wizard. And this was a wizard that was designed with the user in mind when setting up multiple cameras or setting up a significant number of lenses, having lots of calibrations to work with. And it really helps to streamline the workflow. Everything from setting up your camera for the first time to then creating each of the lenses that will create proper metadata that can be attached to each one of your images when they are captured, all the way to setting up calibrations that are either from some kind of a micrometer slide or that are calculated using a wizard within the wizard, which will give you all of the specifications of your camera, of your lenses, any zoom factors, and all of that will then calculate a best fit spatial calibration right within the wizard. So a lot of great things here which can be accessed from the capture menu. There's a brand new configure gear you'll see on the first tab, and this will allow you to launch the wizard and walk through this really easy to use tabbed interface all the way to your summary, where it will display for you all the calibrations, lenses, and cameras that have been set up in this one wizard walkthrough. It's really easy to use whether or not you have a single camera or you have multiples. In Image Pro Premiere 9.1, as we mentioned, a lot of hardware partners writing capture drivers for this product. You want to make sure it's easy to get these to work. In addition to this new feature, we're bringing back an old one actually, our EDF test strips, and this is for extended depth of field processing. If you have a Z-stack that walks through in each one of the planes a different focus plane, and so you have, let's say in this example, a circuit where you're looking at different focal planes, and in order to get them all in focus at one time, you want to capture different planes and then combine all those into one in-focus two-dimensional image. Using the EDF test strips, it makes it really easy to find the best settings to create the correct result. And this was actually in Image Pro Plus 7, and we made sure to reproduce this in our latest Image Pro Premiere 9.1, and we've even improved it beyond what it was able to do before to make it a lot easier to figure out which is the best option. One really exciting feature here is our brand new auto recover. Now, you may have been using a product in the past where you had tons of annotations, lots of measurements, and many hours of work into this document. And unfortunately, you had an unexpected situation where the software wasn't recoverable, and so you lost all of that work that you had done over those minutes or hours. This new auto recover feature will automatically save the work that you're doing every so many minutes. And then if anything happens and you have an unexpected shutdown, when relaunching the software, you'll be prompted with a message that will say Image Pro Premiere has saved a copy of the documents you were working on. It will give you the names of those that it did save, and would you like to recover those? Definitely a message you don't want to ignore. Make sure you hit the yes, and then it will recover all the files that it's been saving out temporarily. Really excellent feature for anyone using software, something that hopefully you won't have to use, but if you do, you'll be happy it's there. Now, talking about customization, it's always important that when using software, it's able to tailor itself to your needs. We've now added 3 new features that I'm going to show here in a row that will help to simplify the view of your software. First of all, we made it very easy to hide tabs that you're not using. By right-clicking on a tab, such as in this example here, the Automate tab may not be something you would use because you're not much of a macro programmer, or everything you're doing is maybe very manual. You decide you want to hide the Automate tab. Simply right-click on the tab, go down to Automate, click that, and it will disappear from the view. Now what's nice about this is in case you have a tab that's very full of groups and maybe you don't use all those either and you'd like to hide one of those, simply go into any of the tabs and then right-click over in the empty space on the furthest right of the screen. You can see that here on my screenshot. Simply right-clicking, I'm able to then look at all the groups available in the tab. By left-clicking on the name, you will then hide that group from the tab. Now let's say you wanted to combine both of these options. We've added that as well. We've made it available now to save and load layouts right from within the product. Simply by creating the layout that you want with either tabs that are hidden, groups that are hidden, or even dialogues and menus that are in specific locations. You can simply create the layout that is of best interest to you and then go to the View tab, Tools, and then hit Save Layout. This will save a .layout file in your Windows users folder and allow you to then share that with others. You can put that into a centralized location, and then you and any of your colleagues can load the exact same layout on multiple computers. This is really helpful because with Image Pro Premiere 9.1, we want to make sure that each user has their own settings. They have their own layout, and so what we'll do is when you install Image Pro, you install it under a specific Windows user. Now that Windows user has their own settings folders, and all of the settings in Image Pro will locate themselves there. If you log in as Windows user number 2, you'll find that the layout actually reverts back to the default. Now that's no fault of the program except for that we're actually saving those layouts for each Windows user. If you'd like to have many users that are all logging in separately, have the exact same layouts, have calibrations, have lenses that are all set up identically, what you want to do is use all of our tools available to save your layouts, save your configuration files, and all of your lens and calibration settings, put them into a centralized location, and allow other users to access those and just simply load them in as you see here. It's really straightforward and easy to make sure multiple users are able to access all the same information. Now again, with more customization, we have really worked hard on this brand new feature and we hope you're going to be very happy with it. A nice user-friendly word processing-like report editing tool. Now we had in Image Pro Plus 7 a very robust reporting feature, but not the easiest thing to use. This is now a brand new tabbed interface. It is just like anything that you would use with PowerPoint or Word or Excel in the most modern versions. A nice interface on the top for you to use bold and italics, for you to align the data and all the information you want. You can simply bring in images and reports full of columns and rows of data that you've counted or that you've manually measured in the product on any of the other tabs. A very nice product that we're very excited about bringing. And what's great about this is you can create a template. And once you've created that template with your logo and all the tables set up the way you like them, you can share that and you can also use it time and time again. And just by simply going to the Edit Report button, you'll be able to make small customizations to that and have a couple different iterations of it. Now a brand new thing we brought to Image Pro Premiere from Image Pro Plus was this idea of apps. And so apps have been something we've been thinking about all year and putting a lot of effort and time into. And we wanted to make sure that at the end of 2013 we created a good buzz around this. The apps in Image Pro Premiere are almost like small products of themselves. They're very robust and they target individual applications. Right now we're going to be loading those this week up onto our Solution Zone website, and you'll be able to access them from our website at www.mediasci.com. And if you find any of the apps that are perfect for the work you're doing, all you need to do is download those, double-click on it. It will launch the Image Pro Premiere 9.1 software and put itself right into this brand new Apps tab you see here. In this example, I have a fiber analysis app, which we have right now available for Image Pro Premiere 9.0, and a particle analysis app, again, available for 9.0. Really nice apps tab. No longer will you find the apps located in the Automate tab, but they've been given a place of their own for easy access. Now speaking about apps, there's some great news here today. We have 6 brand new apps that we're going to release free of charge this week. We're going to be putting them on the Solution Zone right away, and we're hoping that you have a chance to take a look at those. We're going to start off with the Wound Healing app. This is designed to help researchers find the rate of closure of wounds. And you can see here with this phase image, we're able to track the edge, and then this is a movie file which will move over time, slowly closing in and creating a smaller area. The Wound Healing app uses some special thresholding tools to be able to find this edge very accurately. You have some minor adjustments you can make in case you have a unique image, and then once you're finished, you just simply say track the wound healing, and it will go through the entire sequence file and find those edges for you, generate the values and the rate to closure, and present all those in a statistics panel for you. Very nice, very easy, and we hope you'll take a look at it. It could be a very helpful time-saving app that's free of charge. Again, we have more apps now. We also have a circle finding app that we're going to release with ImagePro Premiere 9.1. This is going to be using our Huff transform technology that allows you to find not just objects based on a threshold, but objects based on their morphology. So we're looking for circles here. And this could apply to everything from bubble analysis to foam analysis to void analysis. Wherever you have circular objects that need to be found, no matter what their size, orientation, or even overlap, this algorithm will help you in a wizard-like walkthrough to find all of your objects and then identify whether it should or should not be counted and the distribution of what the sizes are. Our third app here that we're releasing is our brand new Otolith and Scale Analysis app. For the fishery community that needs image analysis software for doing ring analysis, a time-consuming process that typically is very manual, we're releasing two different apps this week. One that is a more manual version where you're able to walk down the transect line and find all the rings and place them yourself. And then a more advanced version that will auto-find all the rings, create your circuli, and allow you to create groupings of all of the different rings, putting lots of metadata and user information in so that you can report it all out in a very comprehensive data table. We also have a corrosion analysis app, and this is an excellent app that we hope that many of our industrial customers will be interested in. We have customers right now who have been using it for some of our beta sites, very happy with the results they're finding. When you have aluminum in these areas for connection, you'll find that corrosion is created. And what our users are typically doing is a very manual process where they need a calibrated measurement of the area of the corrosion. Because they're not using gold here, there's this potential of corrosion, and when there's more corrosion, they see that there's a failure in this process, and so they want to make sure that this passes, that they have a good measurement with both a screenshot, they have data, who looked at it, and what the calibration was. All this information is captured right within the app, and an excellent little report is created for you to capture for each one of the specimen that you're looking at time after time. Excellent time-saving feature. We've packaged it all into a nice little app, and again, available free from our Solution Zone website. And then last but not least, we have this parent-child app, a more generic app that can apply to many different scenarios, whether you're working with life science, cells and doing fluorescent imaging, bright field reflected light, or looking at even EM or any kind of just standard photography where you're looking at an object that is a parent object. That's image number 1 or channel 1 in a multicolor image, and then you're able to have another image, or you have another color within a multicolor image that has smaller objects within the parent. These we consider as children, and right here as this example we have 2 different children located inside of the larger parent object. What we're able to create with this app is a relationship, and we're able to identify which children are identified with which parent, how many there are, what the ratio of them is, and what the area of each one of these objects will be. Each one is thresholded and identified separately, so you don't have to worry about any crossover between the two. Again, all this can be exported to Excel, sent out to a text file, or you can look at it in our data collector for multiple iterations of the same type of image, and then you can look at statistics over an entire experiment later on. So all 6 of these are available from the Solution Zone. They'll be posted this week. After our announcement today, we're going to be hard at work putting all this incredible information up on our website and available to you. Lots of announcements coming out as we go through the week, and we're really looking forward to getting in your hands and you being excited about this as we are. Now, with version 9.1, there are a few other hardware products that we're going to be supporting as well, and we talked about many of our different hardware partners. Today we're also announcing our Olympus DP73 support, and there is a 7.0 version of this, so support for Image Pro Plus 7, Image Pro Insight, and Image Pro Premiere 32-bit. We recommend using this with the 32-bit software of Image Pro Premiere, but we recommend a 64-bit operating system and computer there. So this Olympus DP73 with excellent color and huge pixel sizes using their pixel shifting technology, now available in Image Pro Premiere, specifically for the 32-bit version, and again for our Insight and Image Pro Plus customers as well. This will be releasing and posting on our website this week. Now, coming soon, there's two other things I wanted to announce. They're not exactly ready for today, but we wanted to make sure you knew they're going to be out within the week. We have our brand new D-Picked frame grabber boards that we've been supporting for our Image Pro Plus customers, and now we're going to be bringing those to Image Pro Premiere 32-bit. We have the Axion LT, and the Nexion HD all being supported. And with this Axion card, you're able to support analog cameras and bring those signals in. With the LT, you can bring in simple composite video and support that as well. And with the Nexion HD, you can look at DVI and HDMI outputs of your digital cameras and then bring those directly into the board, which has an interface using this D-Pick frame grabber capture interface with Image Pro Premiere, now on 9.1. Along with this frame grabber support, we'll be releasing the Nikon DS-U3 controller support. And this is a camera controller that will support a number of Nikon scientific digital camera heads. There's the FI and the SI, and there's a number of these that can be supported. We're excited about getting this out the door, and many customers who are working with Nikon cameras to now have access to the Image Pro software for capturing images and then using those images to do analysis. So we have a 14-day demo that's going to be ready very soon, and we're very excited about getting you this into your hands and having you try it out and let us know how it's working for you. You'll be able to sign up later today for that 14-day demo, and you'll just simply go to mediasci.com. You'll see a lot of the release information and all that artwork right on the home page. Once that's available and you see the 9.1 graphics, click those. They'll have a form that you can fill out to request the 14-day demo. The second it's ready, we'll make sure that we send it right out to the email address that you provide us. So make sure all that information that you put into that form is accurate so we can get it over to you right away. Now, you may have some questions about pricing, so we thought we'd give you a little bit about that. And let me just say that right off the bat, these are going to be in U.S. dollars. And based upon the region you're in, sometimes in different areas outside of the USA and North and South America, we have some different markups that may apply. So these are for North and South America only. Very similar pricing around the world, though, with slight adjustments. So please contact your local sales office for official prices. What you're going to see for the brand new Image Pro 9.1 licenses is that we haven't changed the price from our older versions. You're looking at $5,695 for the capture versions, $1,000 less for our offline versions as well. And these are brand new licenses. If you'd like to upgrade from any of our previous products, we have those available as well. $995 for the Image Pro version 9, version 7's at $1,460. Image Pro 6 and lower is going to be $2,850, and then even our customers using Insight, Express, or Optimus are now able to get the price at $4,050. So again, you'll want to talk to your local resellers and your sales offices to make sure you get the correct pricing. These ballpark prices for you just give you an idea of where these products will fall in the pricing. So definitely contact those resellers. If you're working with one of our valued resellers across the globe, we recommend that you give them a call. They'll be receiving all this information as well. We've been working with them and training many of our resellers around the globe for months and months, and we make sure that they're all ready to handle any of the questions that you have. And we really are excited about getting this out the door. And so please, if you have good relationships with your local dealer, give them a call, and you can have a quick chat about how 9.1 might work for you. Just to wrap up, a few exciting new things we wanted to tell you about that are rolling out with 9.1, not so much product related, but just in general supporting our products. We want to now offer you free technical support from Media Cybernetics. Anytime someone has a question and they call in, we want to make sure that now you have this available whenever you need it. We have a East Coast call center that's available 9 to 5 Eastern Time. Anytime during those hours, you're able to call in to the main office for that support. We also have global call centers around the world in the UK, in Singapore, China, and Japan, and you can give those local offices a call if you need any support, and all that will be free of charge. No more technical support agreements will be necessary. We always recommend that if you are working with a local reseller, that they be your first line of support. They know the situation you're in, and they know exactly what you have product-wise, and they're going to be very knowledgeable to help you out. So always make those people your first line of support, but if you have any questions for us, we're going to be happy to help you free of charge. Also, starting brand new with 9.1, free training options. For anyone who has purchased an ImagePro Premier product, we're going to begin having monthly webinars for registered users, and those will be once a month on a specified date that will be sent out to all the registered users. They'll know exactly when it is in advance and be able to sign up for those, much like you're doing today on a webinar, visualizing a lot of the content and a lot of information about how to use individual features. And for these registered users, they can ask questions and get anything they need answered right there in that webinar once a month. Also, really exciting things here, 20% off upgrades. We've been doing this for the last few months, 20% off all upgrades to our latest ImagePro products, and we want to continue that. It's coming down to a close here. We only got a week and a half left. November 29th is the last day that you can order your product upgrade from a previous version of ImagePro to the latest version. This is for upgrades only. We've been running this now for about 2.5 months, and we want to let you know that this is going to be valid for version 9.1 as well. So November 29th is the hard cutoff. If you have any upgrades that you'd like to get in, please try to get them in right away so you can get this nice 20% off to the latest version, ImagePro Premier 9.1. So rolling out this week, a few quick things to tell you, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up here today. We have some brand new video tutorials coming. They'll be on the website this week. Take a look at the video tutorials, walk through, see how some of the features are being used, and make sure that they're going to work perfectly for your situation. They'll be very comprehensive, and if you have any questions regarding anything beyond the videos, again, we'll be able to help you out by giving us a call at tech support or your local sales office. In addition to this, we've launched this year a brand new image analysis forums at mediasci.com. Right in the middle of the homepage, you'll see that image analysis link. Now, we've had some great feedback so far, and we encourage that everyone try this out. The image analysis forums is available for anyone who wants to log in. You look at ImagePro Premier, ImagePro Insight, Plus, AutoQuant, and you can even put anything about macros and apps and recording. Anything that you need can go right there in the forums. Our engineers are on standby. Anytime there's a question, they immediately make sure they provide the best answers possible. We're really excited about this. We've had so many great discussions so far and helped a lot of our users get the work done they need. In addition to this, specific to 9.1, you'll be getting some announcements here later in the week and next week about individual webinars that come out in December. We have an otolith analysis webinar with a otolith analysis expert who will be coming in and talking with all of us about how to use the brand new otolith apps for 9.1. We have an incredible researcher out of Canada who will be working with us on the Colocalization app and talking to us about best practices for colocalization. And then we're also going to have one of our macro programmers who's going to work with us and do a webinar on how they go about doing macro programming in 9.1 and how it's worked for them so well. So exciting new webinars to look out for. All those will be posted to our website and announcements going out. Make sure to register for those if these are anything that you have of interest. So lots of great material for you today, and we're excited that we were able to launch this and talk about all the great features. Again, if you have any questions, we ask that you please contact your local sales office or local representative. Later today, version 9.1 will go live on the website so that you can start requesting those 14-day demos. And once we receive all those, we'll hang on to them until this version is officially ready to go. The second it is, you'll receive the download. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're very pleased that you were able to spend a few moments with us. From both Jeff Knipe and myself, we're happy that you came. Have a wonderful day, and we hope to talk to you sometime very soon. Goodbye.